No, man, I just kidding.
Okay. I don't offend anyone.
Are you kidding?
Alright, cool.
And then we see.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Hold on.
Is that a fake shot?
Listen.
Fake shot.
That's the least I think.
Calm down.
Alright. Ready?
I didn't say yeah.
Alright, you guys. So, we're group 3, and we're going to be covering chapter 2, disaster recovery. I'm going to play the CEO and narrator. Abby's going to play the disaster recovery team coordinator. Cindy, Millie, Cayenne, and Robert are all employees. So let's begin. Our opening scene is going to be basically the offices of Two More Semesters Inc., a company that manages a website where students sell their used books. Some people are working while others are just gathering at the water cooler. So now I'm going to take place as the CEO. This is my office, by the way. Everyone, you guys, everyone in my office now. Now, guys.
We're coming.
Do we need coffee for this?
Bring it.
Because it's going to be long and heavy. Especially 15.
Alright, you guys, I'm not exactly sure how to say this, but there's been some breaking news. And although we're going to do our best to get you guys home safely to your families, we need to talk. We need to discuss our disaster recovery plans.
Disaster? What disaster?
Oh no, please tell me it's just false alarm, please.
Everyone settle down. Abe, what's going on?
Well, as I was watching TV on my laptop pretending to work like I always do, I heard on the news that we were being invaded.
What? Invaded by whom?
It's a joint coalition between the Russians and the Greeks.
The Greeks? I didn't even know they had an army. What are they gonna do? Greco-Roman wrestle us to death?
Why do we even need a disaster recovery plan?
Come on, Robert. Pay attention. We need a disaster recovery plan in place to make sure our company can still function after a disaster happens. So just in case the Greeks and the Russians can actually get their act together and invade us, our company's prepared.
Yeah, so basically, with the invasion of the Greeks and the Romans, we don't need a disaster recovery plan. It's not gonna happen.
People, this is serious. Abby, you're our disaster recovery leader. Let's quickly run through the plan so that we all know what the next steps are.
For those of you who don't recall, the DRP is used to preserve the functions that are performed or aided by computers to prevent impairment of the organization's ability to deliver its products or services. In other words, it's going to save our asses. Okay, everyone, if you recall from our last disaster recovery planning meeting, each of you were in charge of a separate function.
Right. Okay, so there's four main features of the plan. Identify critical applications, create the disaster recovery plan, provide backup, and specify the backup and off-site storage procedures.
Who was in charge of identifying critical applications?
I was.
And did you identify the critical applications and data files?
Yes, we determined that the critical applications we require to run the business is our account manager for our customers and the database that includes all of our registered booksellers. This information is not only sensitive, but important for running our business.
Great. So when we identified those applications, how did we plan to back up that information in case of a disaster like the vodka and gyro party going on outside?
Well, I was in charge of implementing the backup procedures for those applications.
And what backup procedures are in place now?
Well, for starters, we do a manual backup in the office on a weekly basis, but we do contract out to a third-party provider to do a remote backup at a different location using a secure connection.
We also had the decision of setting up either a hot or cold site. If we had a cold site, that would just be an empty shell where hardware could be deployed at a moment's notice and get us back up and running quickly.
What's a hot site?
Oh, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. Listen, Abby. A hot site, it's anywhere Sam's at doing a Dougie.
Thinking about Sam. A hot site is essentially a recovery operations center that is fully equipped location ready for us to continue working no matter what, without skipping a beat, guys.
So what did we ultimately decide on again?
We went with a cold site, which is actually located in Orlando.
Orlando? Hopefully it's not cold enough for the Russians.
Okay, so we have a local and remote backup in a cold site. Are we missing anything, guys?
That's it. Now we have to test our disaster recovery plan to make sure it works.
Come on, guys. That's the auditor's job. Auditors should verify that management's disaster recovery plan is adequate and feasible for dealing with a catastrophic event that could deprive the organization of its computing resources. But then again, we use Deloitte, so there's no guarantee, guys.
Okay, so do we perform all the backups? You know, site, data, software.
Yes, we tested the backup of the data and the software in our offices, and it works fine. We also looked at the third-party provider who was doing our backup at the remote location, and that was going great as well.
Perfect.
All right, you guys, now I'm the narrator again. So in the background, the news broadcaster announces the following. The invasion is over. The Greeks and Russians are retreating. I repeat, the Greeks and Russians are retreating. The White House is reporting that the Greeks ran out of money to buy vodka for the Russians, so now they've decided to break the coalition. Additionally, a meteor just struck Russia. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Oh yes, how did I say?
Who cares about that? Now I can focus on learning the Dougie.
Okay, but at least we know we have a disaster recovery plan in place just in case we're attacked again. And we know it works. This will save us if Deloitte ever learns how to audit.
Scene.
The end.